Fake, fake, fakeity, fake. It's all fake. I'm not believing it, man. Sorry, guys.
So everyone's talking about this amazing UFO hearing, and
do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
I'm just not buying it, man. I'm just not buying it. I don't think that guy who, this whistleblower,
So when they say biologics, they're talking about biology, biological. So that could be like skin, bones, teeth, something of biology. So could be something from a monkey, from a human, from a dog, from a cat, from a squirrel. Somebody testing some kind of new technology, some kind of new stealth technology, and they're using monkeys. Like, what was it, Project X? I'm not sure what the purpose of that. Maybe because of high G-force turns or something like that. You want to see, if right before you do human testing or something like that, or I don't know, man. Who knows what in the hell it is that they're testing? Maybe it uses some kind of a radio frequency mumbo jumbo to like jam all kinds of who knows what, and it's potentially dangerous. So they're testing it with, I don't know. But biologics just means biological.
here they're saying he's a credible guy. He's got this resume. I don't really care about none of that stuff, man. Whatever's on his resume, and he's military, whatever. Listen, man, I am former Air Force, and I can tell you that there are boneheads in the Air Force. I can absolutely tell you that. You got some absolute dim-witted boneheads in the Air Force, and not all of them are doing the jobs you might expect someone who's a bonehead to do, right? And it's not something that I'm picking on the military in particular. You've got a lot of people that are just boneheads in one way or another. I am a bonehead in certain ways, certainly. So I don't really care that he's military or people are saying they can vouch for him or whatever. That has some level of value. It's certainly better than if nobody was vouching for him or people saying the guy's a crank or something. But I'm not going to focus too much on that stuff. I'm just looking at the guy himself when he's talking. I don't know, man. He just doesn't look credible to me. He looks something about him, and I'm just getting a vibe just a read from him. Just sounds like somebody on some BS, right? One way or another. And then if we get more into, because that's feelings, right? I feel that he is not credible. But if I get on a logical sort of framework, then there's a couple of issues with what he's saying, right? He talks about how, they ask him certain questions, and he says he can talk about it in a skiff, right? He can't talk about it in an unsecure setting or whatever he says. Right? Okay, so you're sitting here telling us about aliens that have murdered humans, about alien crafts that the government has, right? And how long it's been going on, and all that stuff is okay, right? Somehow that's okay to be saying this, but the other stuff needs to be said in a secure setting. What else is there? It seems like he's putting it all out there to me. Are we using these aliens as like sex slaves or something like that? It's something like, what's really going on? Are these aliens like shapeshifters and we're using them to infiltrate other countries? So basically 3, 4, 5 or more foreign leaders are actually these aliens working on behalf of us. I don't see how the very conversation of the things that he's saying, I don't see how that fundamentally is something that he's not allowed to say and needs to be said in a secure setting. I just don't get it. It's I guess let me put it this way. Imagine if I was working on some black ops site somewhere, top secret. Our whole mission is something crazy like we have these secret hypersonic missiles, right, that are located at top secret locations. Nobody knows where they are. In fact, No one even knows we have the technology. They don't know we have hypersonic missiles, right? This is something we're using as a strategic advantage, and if that gets out, that is a major problem, right? Not only we don't want our enemies to know we have this, because again, that's a strategic thing that we're doing. We want them to think we don't have as much stuff as we actually do. Also, the location. You know, we may have these missile sites in some unorthodox locations close to civilian population. If that gets out, it's going to be insane, right? And I'm in a hearing, and I'm saying, yeah, so I used to work at this top secret site, and we have hypersonic missiles, and you know, they're really, really close to civilian centers or something like that. And then when you start asking me details, I'm just like, oh, I can't do this in an unsecure setting. I don't understand, man. I mean, it'd be one thing if he was given some vague stuff about, you know, thing that he wasn't being so specific. But even that, as a person who has had training on, you know, dealing with sensitive information, we were specifically trained not to talk around things, right? So, with that being said, I don't see how you'd be able to say much of anything in this hearing. But this guy says a lot. He goes into great detail. And then conveniently, he always pulls a card of like, you know, this is top secret, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, man. I'm not buying it. And I was looking, so this is my personal, you know, analysis, just looking at it. And then also, you know, in terms of what some other people have been saying, they say that the stuff that he's talking about had to be cleared, right? They had to make sure that nothing he's saying is like, you know, a sensitive information. So all the stuff he's saying got cleared. Again, go back to my analogy. So the Defense Department clears me to talk about the fact that we have hypersonic missiles, which by me talking about it in a public setting, now our enemies know. And they cleared me to talk about, you know, they're close to civilian centers. And they said, yeah, go say it, right? But somehow when you start asking me for certain details or specifics, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I can't talk about that, can't talk about this, can't talk about that. Now, in fairness, you know, he does offer to talk about it. He just says we won't talk about it in a public setting. So, in theory, these politicians go talk to him in a secret setting and can't share with us what they know, but they can share with us a sentiment and say, this guy is legit. This is crazy. I really wish I could tell you what he told us, but based on what we heard, this is some serious stuff, and we're going to look into it, blah, 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 blah. But in my view, this guy is highly credible. Somehow I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know if we're going to get much of any feedback at all in terms of what he says. But I don't know, man. It's just not making any sense to me.